I'm getting there. It's coming. You gotta have some separation. So yeah, I'll cover all the branches. Why not?
Did you ever write a children's book?
Would I ever write a children's book? Maybe. I'm very selective on the books that I write. I swear from the depths of my heart, when I sit down to write a book, I am not trying to give you an average book. I am not trying to just finish it and collect a check. I want to write a book that you remember for a long, long time. I want every one of you to be able to look at the books you've read of mine and remember what they're about. Because I know that when I look at a lot of very famous authors, after a year or two, I know that I enjoyed them, but I can't tell you anything about those stories anymore. Especially thrillers. They kind of lump together. I just can't remember. I try. So will I write a children's book? Yes, if I can come up with a great one. And the one that inspires me the most is The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. I love that book. But that's a pretty good book. And I want to write one that's better. But that one's tough to top. And hence my dilemma. So I can come up with something better than that, I will. Would it be similar to that? Most likely. I mean, in structure, but not...
You mentioned other authors. Are there any authors that you read?
Are there any authors I read? I read 125 to 150 books a year, every year. Most of your big commercial authors I read. Big commercial, it means they sell a lot of copies. So I read those. I read a lot of biography as well. I read a lot of history, a lot of economics. I read selected literary fiction and selected classics. I'm very picky on my classics. Just because someone says it's a classic, I don't find... Look, this is my wife. No, it's my grandma. Give me a second. Hello? Hey, you know what? I'm going to have to call you back, man. You caught me right in the middle of something. All right. She'll be mortified. But it was my grandma I had to answer. She's 88. And you know what she does? She does Meals on Wheels for the old people. Isn't that funny? Driving out there, not at night, mind you, but right here. Do any of my children show an interest in my son? A little bit. You know, they're still in school. I probably as much as I did at this age. You never can tell. They, however, see the struggles I face, and they're like, oh, writing's hard. I'm like, yeah, writing well is very hard to do. Writing good, it's not so hard. Writing average, pretty easy. Writing well, not the hardest thing you can do.
Who besides Miley Cyrus will be in the last song?
Who besides Miley Cyrus will be in the last song? You've got Greg Kinnear, you've got Kelly Preston, and then a new young actor named Liam Hemsworth. Right here.
Do the kids let you proofread any of their essays for school?
Do my kids let me proofread their essays? Yes, they do. And I edit them. Over here. How's my son Ryan? Ryan's well. Ryan is off to Peru in a couple of weeks. 15, sophomore, still a little bit socially behind, but academically he's okay. He's a happy kid. He's just a different kid. And it's funny because I have a kid, I don't know what's wrong with him. It could be Asperger's, could be mild, I don't know. It's something. But it's funny, I also have an older son who's, you know, terrific athlete, terrific student. I worry about them both. Does that make sense? I mean, it's not only that I worry about him, it's just his worries about him are different than for my son, but I worry about them both. I think being a parent, you worry about them all. We'll do 2 more questions, then I'll go. With a baby. Lady with a baby.
Do you think you'll do another book with your brother?
Will I do another book with my brother?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe. I gotta have some more family members die first. Oh, that's horrible! I can't believe you said that out loud. You gotta have some poignancy. But maybe.
Did you deliberately try to write those gut-wrenching stories?
Ooh, this is such a good question to end. Do I deliberately set out to write these gut-wrenching stories? Oh. No, here, listen, this is what I write. And this is really, now, it's long, but I'm going to try and condense it and keep it as interesting as I can. All genres have goals. If you read horror novels, the goal is to scare you, right? If you read thrillers or whatever, the goal is to be thrilled. It's to thrill you. Adventure writers try to give you a sense of adventure. Fantasy gives you a sense of escape, right? So what is my genre? Is it the romance novel genre? No, it is not. Those goals are fantasy, it's romance, it's escapism. That's the goal. Mine do not fall into that category. I write what is called dramatic fiction. What is dramatic fiction? It's the oldest of all literary genres. It was started by the Greek tragedies. You have Euripides, Sophocles, Aeschylus, Shakespeare did it. But what is it? The goal at that time in plays is it's not just to thrill you or just to scare you. It is to move the viewer or the reader through the entire range of human emotion. So that when you start a book, by the time you finish, you've gone through every emotion. Happiness, sadness, envy, frustration, anxiety, excitement, love. You felt everything. And then when you close the book, you felt as if you've lived a mini life. That's it. That's why you like them. You open this, you live a whole life, you turn the cover. That's what I write. Now, is sadness part of life? Yes. Generally, if we're honest with ourselves, where is sadness in most people's lives? Toward the end. When your husband of 60 years passes away. Right? Right. So often, if you want to make it feel like life, you wait the sadness toward the end for just that reason. And that's why they move you, because you've lived a little life. And it's just like the life we all lead, except it's not real. So it's a wonderful movement through all these things. That's what I write. So, sadness is always part of it. But they do it in different ways. I don't always kill the good guys. Sometimes I kill a dog. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start signing. We're going to get this here. We're going to go through, I don't know how they have this organized. I guess this side goes first. Those of you, please move back to your place. Remember where you were. I go very quickly. Please don't take cuts. No fisticuffs.